the apartments in The Sims 4 are, like I've been saying lately a lot, they're too big. So today I'm building a micro apartment in The Sims 4. Hello, my friends. It is Luca, and welcome back to another speed build. In today's video, I am building another micro apartment from a little mini series that I'm starting here of just this apartment here in San Myshuno called 2B Jasmine Suites, and I have split it into 3 apartments, and this is the second apartment of the series. So if you want to go watch the first one, I will leave it linked down below as well as in the card up in the top right hand corner. This apartment is for a tech guru, or maybe they are a computer geek. I'm going to call it Computer Geek's studio apartment or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but essentially this is for someone who's really into tech, really into simple modern design. They're not really like traditional, and like they don't really cook a lot. They don't really like go out a lot. They kind of work and live in their apartment quite a bit. And so I kept everything pretty simple, pretty minimal, pretty clean. And I really like it. I know I normally don't like this kind of style, but I think the way that I went about it actually kind of looks nice. And I think with these windows, which by the way, I have talked about it in the last one, but in this one, I did use the tool mod to adjust the windows and the door placements and all that good stuff. I talked about that in the last episode of this little mini series, but yeah, it's a whole process. It's definitely a lot of trial and error. I will leave a link down below to a tutorial that I created myself, and this is the same process that I used in that tutorial, but it's really cool because I used the windows from the high school years pack, and wow, let me tell you, I love those windows so much because they have detail in them because they're actual functioning windows, but they're just so cute. I used a lot of just black furniture, like the black swatch of a furniture that was just like no color whatsoever. I used a lot of that stuff because honestly, it kind of added to the vibe. I used the kind of TV combo thing from the Tiny Living stuff pack. Definitely recommend it because it has a radio, a bookshelf, and a TV built in, and there's slots on top, so I put some video game consoles as well so that they have something to play, other than their computer, I guess, which they also have a nice little streaming computer there. I just thought that looked kind of nice because it had 2 screens, and that's their computer that they use, but I kept it pretty simple nonetheless. The bathroom is pretty minimal and clean as well. It matches the rest of the apartment. I did try to add some plants. Like, that's something that's talked about recently, is how whenever I build anything in The Sims 4, I will add a ton of plants towards the end because I want it to be alive. And I didn't go crazy in this one, but I made sure to add plants because plants are important to me. And also, this build didn't take me very long. So you'll see that the speed in this video is much slower than normal. I usually put, because my editing software, it has like modes, or not modes, but it has like presets. You can set all your clips to 4 times speed, and that's usually what I go for because 4 times speed's like the perfect in between, I think. But this one's only 2 times speed, so it's half the speed than normal. But it is double speed of real time. So it's actually kind of nice to watch. I wouldn't want to watch an entire speed build like this, but for something small like this, I was like, I don't want to rush through it too much because why rush through it and have a nice calming, relaxing time just watching it back. It's pretty simple apartment though, layout wise. It's open plan. It's really just for one sim. I kind of already have an idea of who he is. He's just some college guy. Maybe he's in college. Maybe these are dorms. Who knows? But he's in college, and maybe he is working through college or something. And this is just his really small studio apartment that he lives in while he's going to school or something. I can definitely see that being in this big apartment, since if you want to actually play in all these, you'll have to, have Sims be roommates and just kind of separate the rooms out and do all that stuff. You could honestly probably do that even if your sim has actual roommates, not just 3 sims living together, but like you have 1 sim and you have 2 roommates that you can't control. You can like lock the certain doors to certain roommates so that they're kind of forced to stay in their own little spaces. And honestly, that would be kind of fun to see too. Just kind of let them live on their own and just do their own thing. But yeah, I definitely made use of the Tiny Living stuff pack for the majority. This style in here, honestly, it's just so nice. I love the contrast of all the black furniture against the white walls, the really light colored flooring, and the brick there. It's just a nice bit of contrast. And yeah, and I love this little plant from the Blooming Rooms kit. It's just a tiny little plant. It's like the smallest plant we have in this game, and honestly, I love it so much. It's one of my favorites. And then I did a little thingy here too in the entrance, which I used platforms in these apartments to raise up the floors a little bit so that the ceilings didn't feel so crazy high, because you know, when you make a small apartment and they have really high ceilings, it just feels disproportionate. So I raised up the platforms one level up, and that helped a little bit. Honestly, it was just enough to kind of help it. And I left a little space there, so since the doors won't like adjust based on that and all that, just because it's an apartment, I left a little gap there so that you could step in properly. And I don't know, I felt that was kind of like a nice little entryway where they can just like take their shoes off and like hang their coats up and stuff like that. And I kept this bathroom pretty simple and clean. I just used some white tiles just to make it bright, because it doesn't have windows, so you know, why would you make it dark if there's no windows? So I just did a lot of white tiling. It just kept it very bright and clean. It's a lot, I know, but you know, hey, this guy, maybe he just rents this apartment and it's just like meant for students. Maybe it's part of, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's part of a university campus or something. Maybe there's a university here in San Myshuno and he can just walk to school every day or something. Who knows? And I had to place some toilet roll, of course, some toilet paper, yeah, some bathroom tissue, whatever you want to call it. I've been doing that in my builds lately, and honestly, I know the bathroom clutter kit is not particularly something everyone liked. There's definitely, I did a review of it, but I took it down because I was like, whatever. But I definitely will say it's not the best, but I still use it a whole lot. I don't know. I guess it's just because in these kind of builds here, I'm not using any custom content whatsoever. So I'm kind of limited on what I have, and using that kit really does help give space like use and a lived-in look. So I added like some toothpaste and like some combs, and just like I even put a retainer in a cup. I don't know. You know, maybe they have a retainer still. They're young. They just got their braces taken out not that long ago, and so they're still using a retainer. It braces people, people with braces and other teeth thingies like that. How long do you use a retainer? Do you always use a retainer after having braces? Are you supposed to, or is it like an optional thing? I don't really know. I didn't have braces growing up, and I honestly could have, because I have like a really bad overbite and all that stuff. But yeah, I just never did, and don't really know much about it, to be honest. There is this mirror that came with City Living that didn't necessarily match the vibe of the furniture, but this gray swatch looked really good with everything. And so I used that to actually separate the entrance from the living room. I don't know, I feel like it kind of creates a zone. And I think that when you have an open plan space, that's your goal, is to make zones. You don't want to separate it completely, but you just want to kind of mentally like draw it off. And so using this mirror really helped too, because then your sim could actually like in my head, I was just thinking, oh, they're standing next to their bed and they're taking like a selfie, you know, like I could just see that happening. And plus it's just in a good place too, because like it just opens up a little bit of space in a way, because it's a mirror that's like facing the windows, so like it can reflect those windows, reflect the light, and then it can also like, you know, open up the space so that when you're facing that way, it looks more open. I don't know. Definitely that's a trick in real life that I've used in the past, is putting mirrors in places just to open up a room that's small. And then I also put like a fake hamper. I put some posters here and there. Like I put them in frames so they look a little bit more fancy. And then, or at least that one there, the movie poster with the sword, I just kind of imagined in my head that was Legend of Zelda, or maybe Final Fantasy, or just some kind of like fantasy kind of RPG like thing. And then there's a couple other posters there, and yeah, that's honestly it. It's a really cute apartment. I will have these available to download once all 3 apartments are complete. But yeah, just keep an eye out for the next one. I'm still thinking of what I want to do with the next one. I kind of want to do like a plant lover's apartment, or some kind of like witchy thing, or an herbalist apartment, something natural looking that just kind of stands out from the rest. But anyways, I love you all. Take care of yourselves. And that is everything. Thank you all so very much for watching. Stay weird, and I will speak to you all next time. Goodbye, my friends.